Well, exciting news. We finally have the engraving done. It's been a little while before the engraver could get to it, and he actually called me out of the blue. He had an opening and he could get to it, and I didn't even have it quite fully polished yet, so I still have a little more polishing to do before it goes in for the black oxide. But I wanted to show you the unique markings that we put on these based on the customer's wishes. Basically, he's building himself a 101st Airborne commemorative edition, tribute edition, based on a breeder receiver, if you remember correctly. So we took the breeder receiver and we removed all the original markings. We filled them in with weld, and then we went ahead and metal finished everything. We got it all done, and so then we had a nice blank piece of paper, so to speak, to start with. So then the customer supplied me with some nomenclature that he wanted engraved into the receiver. So this is what we came up with. I'll show it to you in a little bit of detail. We retained the original Breda serial number, which used to be back on the heel, BMR 588. And then we chose Band of Brothers Tribute Edition. So that's in there looking good, very nice. Then on the heel, we put, let's see if I can shield some of the light from it. This looks really, really nice. This came out beautiful. Airborne, got the Screaming Eagle. So it's 101st Airborne Division, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, E Company, and Band of Brothers, Easy Company. And this one's a 308. We rebarreled it to 308. So it's a 308 M1. And inside we put Currahee. So it's quite a unique piece now. The laser engraving, as you see, is beautiful. It's nice and deep. Really, really, really well done. Beautiful. I've got an awesome laser engraver that can duplicate pretty much any markings. You can see just how deep that is. It's just beautiful. Outstanding work. And the Band of Brothers and all, you can just see how nice and deep that is. It's gorgeous. Look at that. So this is going to be a really unique piece. We're bluing this one too. We're not going to parkerize it. We're going to blue it. So that's going to really, really make it unique, really different. Just trying to show you how deep all the markings are on that heel there. Just incredible. You can see the shadows in the letters there. How nice that is. Just beautiful job. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and get the polishing done. I'm just about done all the other parts. This has been a back burner, long-term project. The customer was not in any hurry at all. So I had lots of other projects to work on. In fact, I even had the wood already done for this job at one point, completely finished, tongue oiled and everything, just waiting for the engraving and everything to get done. But we did another job for that particular customer, and he needed a set of wood, so we just decided to use the wood that was already finished. So actually he's provided me with new wood again, new reproduction Boyd's wood, which I'll go ahead and stain and tongue oil and boil and all that stuff. So in fact, it's already been boiled once. So we're not too far away from this project. We should be able to wrap this one up. You know, I'm constantly being interrupted by small jobs, just standard parkerizing, which come in every day. So it slows me down a little bit sometimes, but like I say, he's not in any rush at all, so we should be able to wrap this one up, well, for sure within the next couple of weeks, maybe a month at the most, but a couple of weeks I'm thinking. So anyway, so that part is done. That was an important, very important part, so that's all completed now. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of it done, and when she's fully completed, I think it'll be quite a nice thing to view. Let's see if I can get one more shot of that beautiful heel there. If I can get my trusty partner camera here to cooperate. Come on, honey. Come on. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So anyway, so we'll have that one done shortly. Keep tuned. Stay tuned. So we've got all our polishing done for our 101st Airborne commemorative Garand that we're building. If you remember correctly, we got all the engraving done. It was custom, kind of one of a kind. See if I can get our trusty camera to cooperate here. I'll show you these very unique markings. You can see that looks pretty nice. So I polished everything with, I took everything up to about a 200 grit polish, and I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to get this one blued because I want a little bit of that grain. I don't know if you can see that, or it's just too bright here. Maybe a little bit too bright. But there's a nice grain. I purposely left a nice grain in the metal so that that'll show up when it's blued. So every visible surface has been polished or repaired, whatever. All the machining marks are gone. So it's going to look quite nice in blue. I know none of them ever were blued, but it's going to look quite striking in blue. I've got the wood all ready for it and everything. So our next step now that it's been polished, is I got to send it off to the heat treaters and have it rehardened back up to, this one was, somewhere between 59 and 65. I don't remember the specs on this one, but they usually come in right around 62, 63. So we'll get this one hardened back up to the same hardness, and then we'll get it back. And it's going to look like crap when it comes back from the heat treaters, that's for sure. We've seen those before. You'll see the nice shimmer that's going to have when I blew it. So we'll go ahead and get that heat treated, and we'll have to repolish it a little bit when it comes back from the heat treaters, but that's okay, it won't be too bad. And then off to the bluers. And I've got most of all the other small parts ready to go. They've already been polished. Like I say, everything's visible. I've given it a bit of a grain, a bit of a polish, so we'll go ahead and get this one heat treated. We'll get all the other small parts done, and I'll show you everything just before we send it off to the black oxide. So it should be quite interesting when she's all done. Alright, so we've got our 101st Airborne commemorative, or tribute edition, which we're sending out to be blued. I just want to go over these parts quick before I go any further, so you can see the polishing that's had to been done to everything, because like I say, it's going to be blued, so all the metal had to be polished, and we took all the original markings, if you remember, and filled them in with weld, and so you've been following this one along, you know, from the beginning. So everything is ready now for the polishers. I just want you to have one last look at it before we send it out, because now we're going to have it hardened, and it's going to look pretty bad when it gets back from the hardening. But so I did all the visible parts, everything that shows. You can see on the bolt we had the special number put on the bolt. It matches the number that was put on the receiver. 101st Airborne 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, Easy Company. So that's what those numbers stand for. It's a customer's own design. But everything that's visible, you know, the sight cover, all that stuff, butt plate, everything, the safety, trapdoor, all that stuff, the ferrules and bands, I polished them all. I didn't get too crazy. They're only polished with about a 200 grit. So the polishing marks are going to show, and I want them to show. I want to be able to see that grain. You can see the grain in that metal right there. So I want that to be visible after it's blued. So, because they are military parts after all. They're not. This isn't a Browning. So I didn't want it to look too mint, but because it's a commemorative and a tribute edition, we wanted it to look a little bit different. So I did go ahead and give everything a rudimentary polish. Like I say, it's just 200 grit, so that's not really highly finished. So you're going to see this stuff afterwards, and that's good. That's what we want. We want to see this stuff. So anyway, I just wanted you to see this before I get any further, and I'll keep you in the loop as we go. We're going to send the receiver in now and get it hardened, and I'll repolish it. I'll have to repolish it back up to what it is now, and then we'll get it blued. So we're coming along pretty good. I've just got a little bit of bluing, a little bit of polishing to do on the end of the barrel, just the very end. That's all it's going to be visible once the gun is assembled, so that's all I'm going to worry about. But the rest of it's looking good. It's coming along, getting a lot closer to the finish line now. So Anyway, I'll go ahead and get that hardened, and all these other parts are ready to be blued. But as soon as we get the barrel installed on a receiver and get it repolished, then we'll send it in. So it won't be too long now, and we'll have all this stuff done. So just stay tuned. So we got our 101st Airborne receiver and bolt back from the heat treaters. Because remember, we had annealed it after it was welded so I could file all the weld, and then we had the laser engraving done. So they hardened this back up to a 60, and originally this one came in, I think it was a 61 or 62. So as long as we're within, the specs call for 59 to 65 as far as Rockwell. So we were at 60, so that's good. And we hardened the bolt up too. The bolt's not at 60. I don't remember what he brought that up to, but I think it was mid-50s. Anyway, so the next step now is to bead blast this, clean it back up again. It looks pretty sad after it comes out of the heat treating oven. I had this all nicely polished, if you remember correctly, but anyway, we'll go ahead and bead blast this, get a nice soft patina on it, and then I can go ahead and repolish it. Because if you remember correctly, we're getting this blued. This one's not going to be parkerized, so we're going to blue it just because it's a commemorative edition, and I want some of the polishing marks to be visible. I want the metal to have a little bit of grain in it, just a little bit, to kind of halfway duplicate that utilitarian machined look that a Garand would have. I don't want to make it too pretty like a Browning or something. It is still a military weapon, so I want it to have a little bit of utilitarian look to it. So I want some of those polishing marks to be visible. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get that bead blasted, and we'll get it polished back up, and I'll let you see all the parts one last time before we send them off to be black oxided, but she's getting close. We should be getting this one wrapped up here within the next few days, so stay tuned. So we have all the polishing done on our 101st Airborne Band of Brothers Tribute Edition Garand, and I've given everything about a 180 grit finish, because we're going to blue this one. See if I can get it to a little cooperation here. Here we go. So we've given it a 180 grit finish because I want the sanding marks, or these sanding marks, to show up a bit, because originally these parts would have been machined. So I want it to have a little bit of a utilitarian look to it. I'm not trying to make it into a Browning. It's not going to have show grade bluing. It's going to be a military type finish on there. So I've given everything, like I say, a 180 grit finish, and that'll look very nice in the bluing. A bit of dust on there. That's better. So everything's looking nice. Everything came out beautiful. So got our trigger guard, our trigger housing. So all of the exterior pieces I was I spent some time on to give them that finish. We had all the custom engraving done on this one, if you remember correctly. Well, it's going to be a really nice, sharp looking unit. I mean, the butt plate I polished up a little bit just to give it a little bit more, a little bit more sheen over the standard finish that it had on it. I just give it a glass bead blast. All the inner parts I just glass beaded, and any visible things then I polished to 180. So the screw head there has been polished up to a 180 grit, and once again I just want everything to look nice. Got our sight cover, so it's going to be a nice looking unit. It's not going to be original. I know all the purists are going to get all upset, but one good thing is we started with a Breda receiver, so we haven't damaged any GI parts. So that should all look good once that bluing hits that. You can see how that got a nice sheen to it. So, and of course the nicest part of it all is that receiver. That's, just see if we get in here, get their markings again. So you can see how the receiver, I made sure I want the grain to be visible, so I've got the grain going in certain directions on certain pieces and other directions and other pieces. Anything that's hidden by wood I didn't bother to polish, obviously, trying to save the customer some money wherever I can. But anything that is noticeable, like the front end of the barrel is going to be noticeable. So once again I finished that with a 180 grit, so it's got a nice finish on it. And the op rod, all that stuff, op rod's got a nice, once again, 180 grit, so it looks good. So I can't wait to get this one blued. It goes out actually most likely tomorrow. I don't do the bluing. I get it all ready and I send it to an industrial bluing shop, black oxide shop, and they run black oxide for the big three, 24 hours a day. They got 3 shifts going. So they check the purity and strength of their chemical several times a day. So I know that we get a top quality, consistent job every single time, and a quick turnaround time and fair prices. So I mean, all the work in bluing is in the polishing, not in the actual dipping. That only takes a few minutes. It's all of my work. That's where all the money goes, to get it all ready, to get it to look like this. So we got everything, like I say, all the nice visible parts. They just look super. So that's going to be a nice gun. It's going to be usable. It's going to be a shooter gun. You know, if he chooses to fire it, it will be fireable. It's not just a showpiece. So like I say, everything that's visible got a nice treatment, got a nice 180 grit. So it looks nice, looks good. So I tried to keep all the edges nice and sharp, so nothing's worn away. I block everything with a block so that nothing is rounded. All the edges stay nice and sharp. So you can see that 180 grit is just about the right grit for, quote, a military type finish. You know, if I was doing this to a higher bluing level, like a browning or whatever, I would take that much further than a 180. But 180 grit, 200 grit, that's quite nice for this particular application. The gas tube, I simply bead blasted it with glass bead to give it a bit of a satin finish. Now it's got a lot of casting and machining marks in it, but the customer didn't want to go to the trouble to mint this piece out and polish it. That'd be quite a bit of work to polish this. It's fairly complex shape, but you'd have quite a few hours invested in this one, so he wasn't too overly picky about that. So I didn't do the gas tube, but I did do the front sight. Once again, gave it a bit of a, you can see it's got a bit of a sheen to it, so that's going to look good. So I can't wait to get it done, and we're coming down the home stretch on this one. The wood is basically finished. Everything's basically ready to go. So we're just going to send it out, get it black oxided, and we should have it back here in a day or so, and I'll assemble it and we'll see what she looks like. So stay tuned. Well, I couldn't resist the temptation. Before I send this out and get it blued, I had to quickly kind of just throw it together really quick, just with half of its parts, just to kind of see what it looks like. You know, we don't often get to see. I mean, this would almost be like what a stainless steel Garand would look like, if they'd ever made one. But just nice to see all that nice polished metal against that nice walnut. That's one of those stocks that I boiled to bring the grain out. So you can see how nice it looks. It makes it look very old. So I'm just, like I say, I didn't even put, there's no butt trap door or anything yet. I just wanted to just quickly throw a few pieces on here just so you could kind of see the contrast between the polished steel and the wood. I think it's quite pretty. It's almost a shame to blue the damn thing now. But anyway, she's going in for bluing tomorrow, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. I'm sure you'll all enjoy it. But I just wanted one last look. I just couldn't resist. I'm too weak. Don't have the willpower. Sorry. I just couldn't resist the chance of seeing this thing in its blued or its polished state against that wood. It just looks so nice. So anyway, that's it for this. Next time you see it, it'll be blued and it'll be fully assembled. So enjoy this for a minute while you can, and we'll get her done in the next couple of days, and this one will finally be history after this much time. It's been here a while. We ran into some few problems on this one, and but she's back on track now, and we'll get her done quite soon. So anyway, we'll keep you posted and see what she looks like in a couple of days. All right. Well, I'm glad to announce that we finally got this 101st Airborne Commemorative Edition, Special Edition M1 Garand finished. We blued this one, we put special markings on it, we boiled and stained all the wood. So really it's a one of a kind. It's something that a customer of mine wanted to build. He really likes 101st Airborne and Band of Brothers. So that's what this is. This is to honor them. It's a commemorative edition highlighting them, and that's what the markings reflect. So it's quite a nice looking unit. Like I say, we never see them blued. You never see a Garand blued. So it's quite a nice treat to see it blued. Some special markings right there. I finished everything in 180 grit, so it's got a bit of a sheen to it, a little bit of a utilitarian look. You can see some of the polishing marks, some of the scratches, the 180 grit scratches, which is what I wanted it to be like. I wanted there to be kind of a machined look to it, so I wasn't trying to do a browning type of bluing on it. So, but all the visible parts, you know, front sight, the front of the barrel, all the bands, everything, were all polished. The gas tube was just bead blasted and left alone. But everything came out really nice. Real happy with the color of the wood. Real happy with the bluing. I mean, just look at that nice contrast of that bluing against that wood. Isn't that just gorgeous? So Garands look pretty nice when they're blued, actually. Like I say, you don't ever get a chance to see that, but so everything came out nice. Everything looks really, really good, so I'm happy with it all. You'll see those markings a little bit better, because that's really the highlight of the whole thing is these markings. So we'll get in here nice and slow and get our camera to keep up to us. You can see just what it says. Airborne. It says see here a little better. 101st Airborne Division. 101st Airborne Division. There's our Airborne Eagle's Head. 101st Airborne Division. 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment E Company. Caliber 308, sorry, M1. So we rebarreled this one in 308 just to once again make it a little bit different from all of the rest of them. It needed to be rebarreled anyway, so here's all these markings on the other side. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of oil off, a little residue. But like I say, I'm real happy with how everything came out. We retained the original Breda receiver markings, which is that serial number right there, the BMR 588. That's the original serial number, which we had to retain. And then we had Band of Brothers Tribute Edition cut into the left side. So it looks nice. It's I still see a little bit of oil there. Let me just get that oil off of there. I want you to see how nice this finish looks. Like I say, it come out really, really nice. It's a nice rich blue. Like I say, everything got a little bit of machining, so it's got a nice grain and a nice shimmer to it. So did the sight base and the sight cover. There's that heel again. You can see the markings a little bit better, the lighting. But it's really a unique gun now. There's did the butt plate. We just simply bead blasted the butt plate, but it's got a really nice satiny finish. It's not a high blue. I didn't polish it. I just bead blasted it. So it's got a nice satiny, once again, a kind of a utilitarian look. I just want to look at the wood on this one. A lot of time goes into the wood on these ones too. I spend a lot of time. I boil them and then I stain them, and let's clean that all up. So this side looks just as nice. Let's go over this a little bit, nice and slow. That bluing came out nice. That black oxide against the stainless really is a nice contrast. And there's all our nice wood again. So, got that nice open grain, nice sling swivels. I might, if I do another one, I might even do it in a little bit coarser grit on the metal. So the metal's got a little bit more grain to it. The grain isn't showing up quite as pronounced as I would have liked it to. But it's still nice. Still looks very utilitarian, but I want it to look even more. So this all looks great. I love that bluing against that walnut. It's such a nice contrast. Now don't forget, a similar thing could be done. Just look at that wood. Look how nice that wood is. Just outstanding. What I was going to say was, you know, Garands could be built with any type of marking on there. We can cut anything, burn anything into these. You know, we could start with a breeder receiver, which is what we did, so we wouldn't mar up a nice original Garand. Let me just, I'm going to wipe that trigger housing down a little bit. There we go. Trigger bearing. Okay, so there. Just like I say, such a nice contrast to that walnut. I just love looking at that. But as I was saying, we can duplicate any markings or make any markings. If you want to have a custom-made Garand, if you served in a certain regiment or platoon or whatever, that could all be done. The sky's the limit as far as engraving. If you come up with a design, we can definitely have it engraved. That's not a problem. So I think it's pretty nice. I mean, we got one of a kind here. No one else has got one like this. So you know, quite a bit of work went into it, having to weld all the original markings up and metal finish everything and get it laser engraved. So, but I think in the end it turned out just beautiful. I'm real happy with the finished product. I love everything from the wood to the bluing to whatever. So we're ready to pack this one up and ship it back to the customer. He's actually got a couple more he's bringing me. So, but I hope you enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to do this one, and hopefully maybe we might even get some more interesting projects. This might give you guys some ideas. Maybe we can build some really unique, one-of-a-kind rifles, some really unique Garands. So anyway, I just wanted you to see this. It's finally done. We've come down the road a ways on this one, but overall it looks good, and I'm happy. So I hope you enjoyed this one too. Take care.